What's up, everybody? You're watching Model Aviator. I'm Adam, and Remote ID is upon us. It's been implemented for a bit now here in the States, and we have had dozens of people ask us to give our take on that subject well before it was implemented. And speculating on how things are going to go that early in the game is just not my style. You have to speculate too much. I wanted to see what was going to happen, and besides that, there's no shortage of entities on YouTube that have been absolutely throwing remote ID videos out for the last couple of years, some hellfire and brimstone predictions as to what was going to happen or what wouldn't happen. Much of that didn't come to pass as predicted. I just wanted to see what they did and if they stuck to any of the things that they said once this was implemented, and frankly, I've been pleasantly surprised. The FRIAs are being granted at a very rapid pace. The FAA has actually appointed a committee to expedite the processing of those applications and get those established, which is really good, and that tells me something really important. You have to understand the FAA is an entity that can tell you because I said so, and that can be the answer to something that they do. If you don't think that's true, look up the Trent Palmer case and you'll see what I'm talking about. So they could have told us to just go kick rocks right off the bat. They didn't have to go to any of the trouble, spend any of the money, any of the time that they've invested in doing anything to make model aviation remain a reality. They could have just said, you know, you guys are too much trouble. We got this commercial drone industry that's right at the forefront of being implemented, and we just don't have time to mess with you. They didn't do that. So when it comes to the FRIAs, that's really been a pleasant surprise. I think a lot of people, when it comes to the remote IDs, didn't realize how simple it would be. I think a lot of people got confused about the Part 107 versus the recreational flyers. It's very simple, at least for now. You buy one of these remote ID modules like this Spectrum ID module. You register that in your name, you put it in the airplane like this TriPacer that you intend to go fly outside of a FRIA. You establish connection to satellites and you go fly. Pretty simple. That could get more complicated. They are talking about a network because it's not as easy as they thought it would be to tell where people are and when they're flying with these. So in the future, what's going to happen with model aviation? What's it going to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Well, the truth is, I don't know. And there will be people that will tell you with a great deal of conviction that they do know. The fact is, they don't. It is all pure speculation. I don't know. I can tell you, in my opinion, in my glass half full optimistic opinion, the way things are going with the FRIAs, I think those are going to remain. I think they'll be put on aviation charts. I think everybody that flies, including the commercial drone industry, whenever that gets implemented, and I think it will, even though the logistics and the details are a bit sketch. There's a lot of money driving that. They want it bad, and I think it's going to happen. So I think they'll be able to tell where the FRIAs are and be able to plot courses around that fairly easy. FRIAs are not huge plots of land, so going over or around that to deliver something with a drone should be pretty simple, and they're definitively in the same place all the time. When it comes to stuff like this, that could be more complicated in the future. I don't know what the future holds for that, and I don't even know what I think. The jury is still out. I want to say that you'll be able to fly stuff like this in parks still 5-10 years from now, but I think it might be a good bit more complicated than it is now. But the truth is, we'll just have to wait and see together, because I don't know, and neither does anybody else. And that is just the truth of it. Now, I'll tell you something else that is the truth. There is a way to circumvent having to deal with this that is pretty cool, and there's an aspect of those particular airplanes that a lot of people don't think about. Let's talk about it. That brings us to what we have on the bench for you. These are all examples of currently available planes in E-Flite's UMX and Micro lines from Horizon Hobby. All these airplanes are sub 250 gram planes ready to fly, which means they are remote ID exempt completely. You don't need to fly at a FRIA. You don't need one of these. You just go to your local park or closed schoolyard, some, safe place to fly, and you go fly. So for people that want to completely circumvent remote ID, that's a great option. For people like me, I intend to completely comply. I have no choice. We have a YouTube channel. It would be stupid of me to not comply and put it on film. So we're not going to do that. But there are going to be times where I want to take something out to my local schoolyard or park and just fly. I may only have a little bit of time. I just want to make it easy. I don't want to mess with anything. Great options for that. And the nice thing about these airplanes, they're always going to be improving these. There will always be new UMX airplanes coming out. So there will be a rich market at Horizon Hobby for these. They all fly so good, so much better than you ever would think a small airplane would fly. So you're always going to have that option, and that's a great option, but there is a market for airplanes like this that a lot of people don't think about, and we thought we'd remind you. The used airplane market is an awesome place to get great airplanes for very good, sometimes smoking deals. Oftentimes that market is saturated with examples of Park Zone Ultramicro and E-Flite UMX planes for sale. You can find them on the Facebook Marketplace, RC Groups Classifieds. You can ask people if they have airplanes for sale at your local club. You can get good deals at swap meets. That's where I've gotten most of my used Ultramicro planes. All total, I bought about 10. And this is really worth noting. I think what makes people shy away from buying used Ultramicro planes is they think that they're not going to work as old as they are, and that's certainly a concern. Well, the nice thing about going to a swap meet is you can take your transmitter with you, take the plane out to your car, bind it right there and check it. You're just steps away from the seller if it doesn't work. That said, in 10 airplanes, ranging from airplanes that were a bit worse for wear to airplanes that were new in the box, just very old, 9 out of the 10 worked perfectly. The only one with a slight issue is the Gee Bee here, and this Gee Bee actually has some kind of an issue with the main board or the elevator servo. I'm not sure which. Right side up, this thing is a bit sketch. It's kind of pitchy, doesn't respond smoothly to elevator inputs. You roll it inverted, flies freaking perfect. I can't explain that. I don't know why. You're going to see a flight where we spend most of it inverted. It's kind of interesting. Parts availability for stuff like this, sometimes it's scarce, sometimes you'd be surprised. When it comes to this Gee Bee, I found out what the part number for the main board is that has the servo for the elevator and the rudder on it, looked it up, and lo and behold, there's a couple of hobby shops out there that have new old stock that do mail order. So I actually have a brand new in the package board for this UMX Gee Bee, so I can change that out eventually and fix that problem. But for right now, it's actually kind of interesting to fly it the way it is and a little bit of fun. So we'll just go over quickly what kind of deals we got on 5 of these, because these are pretty significant. The UMX Gee Bee we call the Freebie Gee Bee because it was. A buddy of mine standing in his hangar, I said, "What are you going to do with that?" He said, "Nothing, here you go." Gave it to me. So you can't get better than free. The UMX MiG 15 there, it's a little bit worse for wear, has some scratches on the nose, $15 at a swap meet. This is another UMX MiG 15 that I picked up at a swap meet recently, brand spanking new in the box. This airplane is in perfect condition, 65 bucks. Paid the same price for a very rare Park Zone Ultramicro de Havilland Mosquito, $65. This one was also new in the box with some spare props for $65. I did pay $100 for this Park Zone Ultramicro Striker F27Q. Q stands for Kike Somazzini. Kike actually designed that airplane when he worked for Horizon. I've had one of those before, which is why I was willing to pay $100 for it. They're very capable. So, in a nutshell, you got 5 airplanes here, 4 of the 5, plus 5 other ones that I have bought that aren't on the table. All work perfectly when I got them home and bound them to my transmitter. So, I've had very good luck And when it comes to parts availability, if you know where to look, there are still some parts available for some of these airplanes. But we just thought we'd share that with you because there are a lot of unique pieces. I doubt very seriously that that Horizon under the E-Flite line will ever bring back anything like any of these. This is probably the last MiG in an ultramicro that we're ever going to see, and we'll probably never see these again. So you can really pick up some very unique pieces you wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. And the nice thing about it is the used ones are just as remote ID exempt as the new ones. So you can add pieces to your hangar that you can take anywhere you want to take them and fly them without having to worry about remote ID. They are truly remote ID killers, and you can get killer deals on them. So we just thought we'd remind you of that. We'll put a link in the description to Horizon Hobby where you can check out the latest and greatest ultramicros. Don't forget to check out your used RC market for some of these. And today we're going to show you a flight from our two cheapest acquisitions, the Freebie Gee Bee, mostly inverted, and our little $15 UMX MiG-15. Enjoy these flights. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week with something cool with wings. If you pay close attention, you'll notice when I'm right side up, there's some inconsistencies in elevator input. That's actually not me, it's just kind of doing that on its own. But you'll notice here inverted, it's rock solid. Kind of weird, and in a way, kind of a fun challenge. I actually considered just flying it inverted for kicks all the time, but I've got the new board, so I am going to replace it. That's the Gee Bee for you. Let's try that again. Anybody that's flown Gee Bees will tell you that that can happen even if everything's working right. But it really is hard to avoid when it isn't. See if we can't get a better one. The newer 3S and 4S Ultramicros are making more power than we've ever seen before, but a lot of these old Ultramicros optimized for 2-cell had some punch in their own right. While the Little Mig has AS3X, it does predate Safe Select, but hand launching is simple anyway. Just give it the beans and give it a toss. Given how old this model is and that it was the first Ultramicro EDF, it didn't exactly set your world on fire as far as power. Especially not if you compare it to modern day EDFs, but it's not bad, and I have to say, for 15 bucks, I've well gotten my money's worth out of it. I'm still amazed, and even flying the older Ultramicros, airplanes this small that fly this good, it's just hard to believe we're at a place where that's possible and it's repeatable. Seems like everyone they come out with flies really, really good. Keep your eyes peeled for used UMX planes. They're a lot of fun. A lot of times they're a really good deal to buy used. They're Remote ID exempt. It's a win-win. Take care.